Our first guest tonight is the distinguished U.S. Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. Serving in her third term and representing ABC's own cities of Artesia, Cerritos, Hawaiian Gardens, and Lakewood, Linda is recognized as a leading voice on judiciary, labor, and trade matters. Congresswoman Sanchez is the first Latina in history to serve on the Judiciary Committee. She is the first woman to serve as chair of the Subcommittee on Commercial and Administrative Law, and she also sits on the Subcommittee on Immigration, Citizenship, Refugees, Border Security, and International Law. The sixth of 7 children, Sanchez was born in the city of Orange to immigrant parents from Mexico. She attended UC Berkeley and later worked as a bilingual aide and ESL instructor before she earned her law degree from UCLA. Linda has worked for the private sector as well as for a number of labor unions. Sanchez's service in the U.S. House of Representatives is historic as she proudly works with her sister Loretta, who is a congresswoman from the 47th District of California. They are the first sisters and the first women of any relation to ever serve in Congress. Congresswoman Sanchez is a published author and resides in Lakewood. Ladies and gentlemen, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. Now, I don't know if when you're in the Capitol they have the big music like that for you, but that might be something to think about. I don't know.
I've been trying to get my colleagues to think about theme music for when we walk on the floor.
Absolutely. I totally like that. I totally like that. Well, for me, it's an honor to meet you. I think about Congress in general and the government, and that, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. There's 435 representatives in the House there, and meeting one of those 435 is a pretty elite group, so that's pretty special to me. You've been serving in Congress for 3 terms now?
Yeah.
Wow. And you've had a chance to serve along with your sister,
yes,
who's worked in Congress a little bit longer.
Twice as long.
Twice as long.
Yeah.
So she kind of got in there, she got the pool all warmed up for you, and then she's like, hey, come on in.
Well, if you listen to her describe it, she said, she says, nobody wants their sibling to come play in their sandbox.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's kind of true. You come from a medium-sized to large family, right?
Very large family by today's standards. Seven children.
7. Now, where are you in the top to bottom order there?
I am number 6.
Okay. And then Loretta, the other congresswoman, where is she in the order?
She's number 2.
Oh, wow. So she's right towards the top, and you're towards the bottom end.
And she acts that way, too.
Oh, really? She very much wants to kind of mother you, or?
She's sort of like a second mom, and, I'm fond of saying she's the bossy older sister, and she's fond of saying that I'm the rebellious, spoiled baby of the family.
Ah, so. Interesting. Well, we'll come back to that in a little bit. At the Unite Show, we being a district show, we focus on education, and that you had a chance to go to Berkeley for your undergrad.
Yes.
How was that experience there?
Well, it was really interesting because I grew up in the city of Anaheim, and it was sort of a lot more, I don't want to say rural, but there were orange fields, orange groves there when I grew up, and so it was a lot sort of a small town flavor. And then when I went away to school up in the Bay Area, San Francisco area was a lot different, and it was sort of like a big city, and it was really an interesting transition for me. I started out, everything was so different, and really by the end of my 4 years there, grew to love it, and absolutely had a great college experience there.
So now you've been 3 terms representing basically the area of which the ABC Unified School District covers, with some other cities along the way too.
Yeah.
And you live locally as well. Is that a requirement of congresspersons, or do they have to live in the district that they serve, or do they just have to live in the state, or how does that work?
Well, interestingly, if you want to run for Congress, technically you don't have to live in the district that you want to run in. Congress is the only office where you just have to live in the state.
Okay.
State legislative seats, you have to live in the district,
sure,
etc. But Congress is a little bit unique that way.
All right. Do you think that living locally helps you better serve your constituents then?
Absolutely. I mean, when you come into contact every day with the people that you represent and you listen to their concerns and you see what's going on in your communities, you have a much better idea of, you know, what the needs and desires and wants of your district are than if you live somewhere else and you only, you know, visit occasionally.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Which then, that makes me think, you know, that you kind of end up having, you know, part-time here in Southern California and part-time in Washington. How does your kind of yearly schedule work with that? Like from a week-to-week or a month-to-month type situation?
Well, you don't really, there's no real set schedule, which is the hard thing because it makes it hard to plan your schedule. But when we're in session, when we're called into session,
right.
Usually we have votes in Washington anywhere from 3 to sometimes 5 days a week, sometimes even more. Sometimes we even work through the weekend,
sure,
voting and doing legislative work. But most weeks that we're in session, we're in from Tuesday to Thursday, Monday to Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
3 to 4 days typically. And then I get on a plane and I fly back to California just about every weekend. So I'm here on the weekend.
Oh, wow.
I can be home with my dogs and out in my community talking with my constituents.
Sure.
But that's a lot of flying back and forth.
Your frequent flyer miles much astronomical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We also have legislative breaks
Sure.
so that we can come back to our districts for a week at a time, sometimes 2 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
See constituents in our office, be accessible to folks that want to come in and talk with us, be out and visible in our communities. So, you know, when people say, "Oh, you're in recess from Congress," that means we're not in legislative session in D.C., but it
right.
doesn't mean we're all on vacation.
Yeah, everyone's going to Miami.
Right.
You know?
It means we're back in our districts doing the local work that we're supposed to be doing.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that makes sense. Well, there was a small game. Maybe you've heard of the phenomenon of 6 degrees of separation, that you can count, you know, 6 people. So I want to play a game called 2 degrees of separation.
Okay.
And you're probably going, man, this is going to seem eerie, but I felt the same way as well. You have a sister, Martha.
Yes.
And where is Martha in the chain of 1 to 6?
She's right in the middle.
Is she right in the middle?
Let's see. Number 4.
Number 4. So she's just older than you then?
Yeah, there's one brother in between us.
Okay, okay. Well, Martha and her husband, Bruce, they have 2 daughters.
Yes.
And their youngest daughter, McKenna, is on a soccer team.
Yes.
Of which I am the assistant coach.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. I know. Crazy, huh?
It is
so
crazy.
Me to McKenna to you, just like that.
Yes.
And I will have to say, there is a Sanchez look. And man, it's you look, you know, I can see, I'm like, wow, that looks like Martha and McKenna, you know, just the family dynamic in there. So.
Well, let me tell you, I was an avid soccer player when I was a girl, and so I've been intending to get out and see McKenna's games. I haven't had the time
yet.
yet.
The Golden Girls, that's the name of their team they chose. We reminded them it's kind of funny. The adults all laughed. We're thinking of like the 80s, like, you know, a TV show. So we explained that to them and they got it. So now they kind of refer to themselves as old ladies. So it's kind of funny. They're in on the joke.
9-year-old
yes. Yes.
girls.
Yeah. So they still have a few games left, and maybe if you're the session that hasn't begun, or if you don't get called back, yeah, that'd be fun to
I'll
have
get
you
out
come
there
out
on the
and
soccer
see
field.
there.
Absolutely. I love that sport. It's a great sport.
Yeah, they're a fun team too. It's very fun. So it's a great experience. I enjoy it too. So.
Good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Being able to kind of talk to us about your educational experience and everything like that. It's been quite a pleasure for me as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Well, and you folks at home, we've got so much more to come, so don't go anywhere because you'll miss it.